Hey everybody! Today we're going to have ourselves some fun with another color along. This one's a little different. This is from a book I'm currently working on right now called The Big Book of Burdens. I'm not even halfway done with it. Each page is drawn by hand, so it's taken me a little time. But I've been sharing these pictures on Facebook, and people seem to like them, so I figured I would pull out a page I liked, and we could do that together as a color along. And as always, just go to my Ko-Fi page and download it for free. If you want to donate, amazing. If not, it's not a big deal. I will have the link down below. So what is a burden? A burden is, how it sounds, is this thing that nags at you and picks away at you. And I created a line of plushies that go along with this some time ago. And I just thought it'd be cute to make a whole book about it and to even give a couple of these away to you here. So if you're interested in winning a free burden, I'm teaming up with Color with Claire on this one. So check out the details below or just watch this video. But let us get to coloring, shall we? So this section here, the little bird cage, I think I'm going to go with a brown, like maybe a bronze color. And I'm using Cezanne, which has a really good selection of earth tones. So I like this orange color, this brass, and then I like this really deep chocolate. So I think between these three, I'll have my base color, my dark, and my light. So I should be able to get that brownish, bronzish look that I'm going for. So when I was chatting with Claire about, possibly doing something like this, I ended up sending her a few of these little Birden plushies in the mail, and she really liked them. She said they were great, and I'm really proud of these. This is something I had incorporated in a lot of the properties I've done years ago, and like I said, they had always been a fan favorite. I've always loved them, and then I love the meaning behind them and how each of us carry with us a burden. And it's usually things that we can get rid of if we really wanted to. But for the most part, we're all stuck with them. We're all stuck with this weight on our shoulders. So I thought it was a clever way to make our burdens into birds. They're these things that we choose to feed and keep and to have companionship with, even though at the end of the day, it's probably not best for us, but it is what we do. So when you are done watching my video, swing by her channel, and she actually kind of shows them off a little bit where you could see the actual plushie. And this is super simple. All you've got to do, I'm sure most of you here are already subscribed to my channel. She is one of the few that I've actually subscribed to. I got a few colorists that I follow on YouTube. She is one of them that I actually just enjoy watching her content. So if you're not already subscribed to hers, that's pretty much it. You subscribe to mine, you subscribe to hers. You could leave a little comment in either her or my comment section of which burden you would like the most. I'll show them maybe towards the end of this video so you can see, but she actually does a really good job. It's a really short, like around a 2-minute video, a really short time lapse of her coloring the same video. But again, she talks more in depth on each of these birds. And again, I have all the details down below. She will have them all down below. Just click subscribe here, subscribe there, and leave a comment. Boom, you're in. So for those of you who are new to my channel, I like to do a nice little mixture. A lot of times I'll talk about the technique I'm using, the pencils I'm using, the way I'm using them. Other times I'll leave the airspace quiet so you could just hear the soothing sounds of the pencil. And then other times I add a little music, usually classical, usually it's just something original. But I think that's a good mixture for y'all to enjoy these color alongs. The one thing I want you to take away from this is I am an illustrator by trade. So everything you see that I'm coloring, I've drawn. And therefore, I can give them away to you for free. So usually I'll put these on my Ko-Fi page. Donations are always welcome, but they're not a must. So if you just don't have the funds, don't sweat it. Go grab it for free, bring it back here, and we'll do some coloring fun together. As you can see here, I'm using a Lyra blender. I think this is one of the more underrated blenders out there. When it comes to soft blenders, I know a lot of people gravitate to the Caran d'Ache, which is, by the way, a fantastic blender. But a lot of times when I'm choosing, I go with the Lyra just because it's a touch softer, believe it or not. I'm not even going to say this is going to do a better job than the Caran d'Ache. I just lean towards it, I guess, mainly just to change it up. And in this case, I knew I was going to need a soft blender just because I wanted to maintain those highlights while blending the colors. And this is just a good blender to do it with. Up here on these little shingles, I'm using the exact same three colors with my base brown, my darker brown, and then that lighter, which is almost like an ochre. I'm just going to carry that over here. I'm going to go real deep to show layers under the top shingles, and I'm just going to kind of almost color these like I would, just to give a little shape like I would an oval, where I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight. I'm just going to rinse and repeat this process on all of these shingles, so I'm going to kind of jump through it a little bit and not make you watch every single one of them. As you can see, again, I'm just working these two shingles over and over, and it's a rinse and repeat. I'm just taking the same three colors, and I'm going over and over, adding darks where I need them to be, and I'm leaving areas for the highlights. Again, I didn't skip around too much on these so you could see it from start to finish, and I'm doing this little side one here. But then I'm just going to go ahead and jump ahead because every one of these shingles are done the exact same way. Okie doke, we're going to jump into a super close-up, and we're going to color one more from start to finish, again, just so you can kind of get a better view of what it is that I'm doing. I'm figuring out where my highlights are. I'm going to leave that area lighter. So then when I go into it with the ochre, that's the color I'm going to be pushing these darker ones into. And it also lets me realize, okay, this yellow space right here, I'm leaving that alone. I don't want my darks to cover that up, because when I do go over to blend this, I want to keep a little bit of that yellow there. Now here I'm going into it with a Thornton blender. It's on the softer side, but it's a lot closer to the mid-range, and that's what I'm wanting. I want something with a little bit of bite, because I don't want to blow that yellow completely out, but at the same time I do want to cover it up with some of these darker browns so it's not as glossy. And this is a great blender. Anytime you're dealing with a mid-range, it's exactly what it says it is. It's right in the middle of an aggressive and a soft. So it's going to do a good job, a well-rounded job of both mixing the colors, keeping some of the highlights without retaining any of that white on the paper. So you can see how it's really taking a lot of the glare off of the shingles and just kind of replacing them with a softer yellow. And that's kind of the look I'm going for with this. And again, the Thornton, I hadn't even heard of a Thornton before. It was one of those things that just kind of popped up in my feed, and I got it. And it took a little bit to grow on me, but once it did, it's definitely become one of my favorite blenders in that category. And here we go with one of my all-time favorite things to color. I love doing whites. When there's no previous shadow on the image itself, where you get to add your own. And I know a lot of people don't care for that too much, but I absolutely love it. Now, you'd get a better view of this if my big fat gorilla knuckles weren't covering half of this flower as I'm coloring it. It's one of those things I didn't catch it until after the fact, so I'm going to probably skip through some of it. But again, this is why when I'm doing like a little review or a pencil appreciation, I always, my eye goes right to those grays, because I want to see if there is a nice gradient from light gray all the way to your black. Oh my goodness, we're going to jump ahead. I jump ahead and I'm still covering 90% of the picture. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to get better. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here we go. Nope. There it is again. It seems apparently I need to relearn how to hold a pencil versus the camera. Hey, all right, look at that. I finally could see what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead. I'm starting with the dark gray, and then I'm just going to go on top of that with a base gray, like a 50% gray. And the reason for this, I'm not going to use a lighter gray. I'm going to let the paper become the lighter gray. I know ahead of time while doing this, I'm going to use the blender, and that's going to make the perfect gradient with these grays. I'm going to use an aggressive blender, and basically I'm going to purposely blow these grays out. I'm going to get that dark, push it into the light gray, get the light gray, push it into the white, and it's going to give a really nice feathered look, a really soft white look once that aggressive blender hits it. So here I'm using possibly one of the most aggressive blenders on the market is the Color. One of my favorites. Did not like this blender at all the first few times I used it, and then realized I was using it wrong. So now it has become one of my favorites. This is the blender you go to when you want this exact effect, when you purposely want your colors to wash themselves out. Like, I'm going to take this gray and I'm pushing it until it's going to fade away into the white, and it's going to give this just a really nice soft look to this white flower. you know, other than my hand once again being in the way, from this distance, you could really see how soft. It just makes it that really nice light gray, that white that has that shadow cast on it. And I just think it gives such a good look when you're using an aggressive blender on top of the grays for white. I love it. One of my favorite things to color. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for flower music. So I've been working these three yellows, my base yellow, that dark ochre, and then a lemon yellow. Those three colors together, and I'm purposely leaving this little white area because I know I'm going to go into it with mid-range blender, which is the grisaille, and I'm going to go over that white spot, and I'm going to slowly pull some of those yellows into it. That way it's still really soft where you're seeing the highlights come through, but at the same time it's not a stark white, like it's not going to be a glossy center to the flower. And I think that's just a really good way to achieve that effect. As you can see here, I'm just going to do these leaves as per usual. I'm going to get my darker green and start at the bottom of the leaf, and then I'm going to touch up the top of the leaf. Then I'm going to get my base green and kind of go around that, leaving a little highlighted area. And I'm also going to go over the darks that I've already laid down. And then when I get my lighter green, I'm just going to go over the areas that's already colored. And that way, when the blender hits it, you're going to see that neon come through a lot more than you do when you're laying it on top of the darks. Like, you won't be able to see it very well until the blender hits it. So here on the second leaf, I'm just going to kind of jump around a little bit. It's the exact same way I did the first one. I'm going to lay down my darks, then go on top of the darks with the base and leave the highlight. And then I'm going to go over that with my, it's almost like a grass green. It's a brighter green. And then when I'm done with that, I'll blend them all together. I always like to take that last pass of darks with whatever the darkest variant of the color I'm using. So this is just a really, really dark green. I'm going to touch up the tips and then touch the base of these leaves. And that's going to really give them shape and form, and it's going to pop out that little highlighted area. And because the blender does scrape off a little bit of the pigment, I'm going to go back into it again with the dark green just to really make sure that I'm going to have a lot of shape and form. Like, it's going to show the depth when I do that. We're going to do the same thing again. This time I'm going to put the highlights in a different spot, but it's the exact same process. Dark, then medium, then light colors. Cue the leafy leaf music. Now this is 100% the same type of leaves I did, the green ones, the very first ones where I'm leaving a little arched highlight. Doing the exact same thing, but I wanted to break it up. I didn't want that much green, so I'm going to try to match the bird cage with the brass and brown. So I'm going to make these more of a fall looking color, and I think it's going to look good when it's mixed in with all of these bright greens, and if I make the bird a bright color. I just think it's going to stand out more and just tie the whole thing together a lot better. And this part's the same as before. I'm actually going in there with like a burnt orange and or like a burnt sienna, and I'm going on top. So this is the darkest color I'm using on these leaves, but it's just, again, it makes a world of difference, just night and day between the before and after when you put those really darks on top of the colors. Look how beautiful. Now, this flower here, I'm not going to make it stand out, and I'm not going to put really any highlights on it. In fact, it's going to be a pretty basic, ugly flower. So I'm just going to do it like the mustard yellow, and then I'm going to branch out from there and leave the berry edges a little lighter. But all in all, this one, there's no need for it to stand out. I want it to accent the leaves up front, so I'm going to keep this one pretty basic. So for those of you who are going to subscribe and comment and try to get yourself one of these little Birden plushies, I wanted to share with you. So each Birden, it's not just a color, each one represents a burden. So you have worry, regret, fear, hatred, mourning. There's all these different burdens, but each burden comes with its own little poem. So just to share the differences, I'm going to read two of them to you. They're real short, but they're cute and yet also very macabre. So this is the green one, which is worry. Her song fills your belly when it's time to eat and rings in your ears when it's time to sleep. This is one burden with little to do, so she constantly squawks and pecks away at you, just like worry usually does. This is regret. This is one of my favorites. He's the thing that you've done that only you know. He's the smile on your face that is strictly for show. The moment in time you knew was no good. The thing you'd erase if only you could. So each of these have one of these little deep poems that go with it that just make it mean a little bit more to you. So I think the way we're going to do it is we're going to pick 3 people at random. The third one is going to get a PDF of their choice. The second place is going to get a PDF of their choice and a burden of their choice. The first place is going to get a PDF of their choice, a burden of their choice, and a free random burden. So I think that'll be fun. Again, but we're not here to win burdens. We're here to do a little color along, so put that out of your head and just know that the real winner is you. You get this awesome free picture, and you get to hang out with me. Now for the burden, I'm going to keep it simple. There's so many possibilities when it comes to coloring birds, like, all these designs and patterns that can be a lot of fun. With this, because I have so many solid colors in the image, I'm just going to keep them really simple. I'm going to make this basically just a canary. So it's going to be solid yellow. So I'm going to start with my darks. In this case, it's going to be that nice ochre. And that's going to pop out and again give some form and shape to the belly and to under the tail and show some highlights. And then I'm just going to cover this with the true yellow. And I think that's going to pretty much do the trick. I'm doing the tail the same exact way I did the flowers, the white flowers. I'm going into it with my really dark gray, and then I'm going to hit it with a base gray and kind of feather that out. And then again, I'm going to go into it with an aggressive blender, and I'm going to push that into the white gradient so it just has a really, really soft look. I know it looks messy because we're pushed in so close, but it has such a nice gradient to it. That aggressive blender, it just really pushes those grays into oblivion, which is perfect for this because it gives it such a soft look. It makes it look more like we're dealing with a shadow on white as opposed to a gray object. And now for everybody's favorite part, the background. And by everybody, I mean my favorite part is the background. I used to hate them. Now I really enjoy them. I think I was doing overkill at first, trying to make a sky background or a full background. And once I realized what I'm really wanting to do is just tease it with a little bit of color, it just accents the image, it accents the colors, and I like it so much more, and it actually has become fun for me. So on that note, cue background music. Wait for it. So you can see that the colors I'm going with isn't just a plain blue or a plain pink. I'm just trying to get like a fun color combination. So I'm using the colors that are in the image also with the cooler colors just to go ahead and complement most of the colors that I've already used. And finally, we're going to touch the beak up. I almost did the beak in black, and then last minute I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and do the typical orange. So I am going to give this a little sheen to it. So I'm going back to my Thornton. It'll be enough to push the color into the white area without completely blowing it out. And I think it's going to just give it a fun look all in all. So thank you for joining me on this here color along. Be sure to go grab the freebie, whether you want the plushie or not. Go get your freebie over at my Ko-Fi and come back and color along with me. It is not uncommon for me to stick freebies on my Ko-Fi. And again, you don't have to donate. It's nice, but it's not a requirement. And if you are interested in the contest to go ahead and win a couple of these Birdens, again, just go ahead and subscribe to my channel, Claire's channel. All the details are down below, and good luck. And I hope to see you next time.